All in Sports Network. We love sports.
The bye week is over for the Kansas City Chiefs, which means we have injury updates. We've got reports across the place about a trade that almost happened, and now the biggest game, potentially in the past 5 years in the regular season at least, for the Kansas City Chiefs comes up this Sunday as they go to Mile High Stadium and take on the Denver Broncos. This is the Chiefs Report. I'm Jace Andrews, and you're listening here on the Rogue Sports Media Network. We appreciate you watching, listening, or ingesting the content in whichever way you choose to do so. And we hope you're having a wonderful Monday afternoon, evening, or Tuesday morning if you're listening to us a day later. We've got a lot to talk about here on the show today. Happy you chose to make us a part of your daily listen and talking about the Chiefs every single day. But some intriguing things came across this weekend along with today. Andy Reid spoke to the media ahead of the Chiefs' upcoming matchup against the Denver Broncos. Obviously, bye week last week, and a lot of updates. Talks about Pacheco, talks about Josh Simmons. Jawan Taylor as well, also mentioned in the injury talk. So we're going to go through that. There was also a report from ESPN's Adam Schefter talking about, post-trade deadline, some trades that almost happened, and the Chiefs were mentioning one for what I would consider a surprising player. We'll bring that up as well. And then we'll take a quick look ahead to the Denver Broncos game and how important that actually is, not just for the Chiefs, but for the AFC South or the AFC West, and of course, the Broncos as well. It's a very intriguing game. And with the way the Broncos looked last Thursday, there's a lot of doubters now in their backyard as well. So kind of a who's the real deal type game coming up here on Sunday. But we're going to get into that later. Let's talk about the Chiefs injury updates here on Monday afternoon, Monday late evening now, as Andy Reid spoke to the media and kind of talked about a couple different things. Headlining him was, of course, Isaiah Pacheco. He is a big piece of the Kansas City Chiefs offense, and during this media availability, you could call it, they kind of asked him about the usage of the running backs during the Buffalo Bills game because, remember, they got to talk to him post-game, but they really haven't talked to Andy Reid since due to the bye week. So he gave some intriguing answers as to why they used the running backs in the way that they did, why the running backs were in kind of a awkward mind, in my opinion. But either way, it seems as though that Isaiah Pacheco is obviously the back. And if we read through kind of what he said and overall the feeling, here's kind of the official quote. Yeah, we'll see. I'll have to see on Pacheco. And Jawan Taylor, he was feeling pretty good by the time he got back here to Kansas City after Buffalo, but he had left for the bye week, so I think he'll probably be okay there. We'll talk to him kind of when he gets back. So I don't believe that we'll probably get Isaiah Pacheco back. Reid kind of continued to went on and talked about Isaiah Pacheco in the press conference, and the overwhelming theme was that it probably will not be this week for Isaiah Pacheco. There is a slim chance, there's always a slim chance, and that Pacheco could come back. But the odds of him returning, I think, are probably about 30% right now. I know that there might be somewhat of a limited practice time for him. Obviously, the MCL injury is something not to be taken lightly. But at this point, it was nearly 3 weeks ago we're talking. So a little bit of healing. They didn't exactly go into how bad of a sprain it was on the MCL. They didn't put him on the IR, which makes me believe that he has a chance to come back this week just because of the fact that, putting him on the IR takes him out for the next 4 weeks. So in theory, he missed the previous game versus the Bills in the bye week, and now here the week from a 3. So I mean, if he doesn't come back until next week, then you almost, I'm not going to say wasted an IR position, but could have put him on the IR and pulled somebody up. But either way, doesn't matter. I would have to believe that Pacheco will play next week, but I think this week it's probably about a 30%, which is higher than I thought maybe it'd be. But at the same time, I really give it a very unlikely chance for him to play. Jawan Taylor, though, by the way, looks like his knee's all good. Got positive info on him. Really overwhelming theme there is that he should be able to go this upcoming Sunday. Keep that offensive line healthy. And speaking of the offensive line, they might have somebody back for the first time in 5 weeks at this point. The return of Josh Simmons and really what the Chiefs are going to do at left tackle. Because not to say that Josh Simmons doesn't deserve the starting spot. I really do believe he does. But Jalen Moore has also been pretty good for the Kansas City Chiefs. And in my mind, I think that there has to be some level of respect for him coming here and playing, being here every week when Josh Simmons. I know what's Philly matters, and also Simmons had the bye week to come back, but I'm curious to see what ends up happening. Here's what Reid had to say about the whole situation. Quote, "What we'll do is just see where we're at here. We know we've got a good player in there now. We know what Josh is capable of and all that. So we'll just see where we're at when they get back." End quote. When it was announced that Josh Simmons was going to be returning to the team during the bye week, it was a good thing because he was going to have a week to readjust. But I think something that may have been lost in translation in some aspects is that the team really doesn't meet during the bye week, at least not full hard practices. I know that because he was away from the team, he was probably in the facilities working out, doing all this stuff. But overall, it's not like he was having actual live practices, getting reps in, back with his teammates. Like, that's not how it went. Patrick Mahomes was at Texas Tech this week and be for the game day picker. You think he's, coming on a Thursday during his bye week to come figure out what's going on with Josh Simmons? Like, no, that's not how that went. So I am a little bit intrigued to see if they are willing to, say, "I know you're gone, but we trust you now. We're going to just play you right away." I'm curious. Here's what Andy Reid had to say about Jalen Moore. "Jalen has done a nice job for us," Reid said. "I think just asking him to jump in after the season's been going for a couple months here, that's a tough task, especially against the D-lines we're playing, but he's done a respectable job." So the question is there that big of a difference between Simmons and without Simmons, or in retrospect, Jalen Moore? That's kind of the question everybody is asking. And so here's kind of some stats with it. In the 4 games with Jalen Moore as his tackle, he had about 273 yards per game. When he had Simmons, Josh Simmons, he had 251.4 yards per game. So a little more with Moore, but not an insane amount. He also threw fewer passes, though, with Moore. He had a 33.3 attempts per game compared to Simmons when he had a 36.6 attempts per game. So a little more passing with Simmons, a little less yards, something to be concerned about. But there was more sacks, and that might be the bigger statement to put out there, because the 4 games that Moore was here was the 4 games the Chiefs were able to win, or in that win streak, I should say. So I don't know if you really want to be like, "Oh, well, 4 games, better passing, play him." Like, no, I don't. We can't really do that. But the Chiefs have allowed more sacks with Moore at 2.5 per game as compared to Simmons when they allowed just 1.4 per game. But with Moore, Mahomes has had a better passer rating. 104.6 is the passer rating for Mahomes with Jalen Moore, with a 66.2 completion percentage. With Simmons, it was a 93.5 passer rating and a 63.4 completion percentages. So kind of intriguing there for a couple of different reasons, because in terms of QBR or passer rating and completion percentage, it's with Moore. Comparative to the stats Patrick Mahomes has, it's with Moore. But maybe the biggest stat goes in favor of Josh Simmons in sacks per game, because that's ultimately what the offensive line is trying to do. Now, I know Patrick Mahomes playing, obviously, a lot more offensive plays. I know he passed less, I guess, with with Moore, but it was a lot more offensive plays, a lot more scoring. So he was out there for more plays. But 2.4 per game, 2.5 sacks per game for the plays with Jalen Moore in there, 1.4 for Simmons. Josh Simmons is the better player. I don't want to beat around the bush and like try and stat you to death and say, "Well, I mean, Moore could be there. I know Simmons is a first round pick, but Moore could do that." Like, Josh Simmons is the better player. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. However, the difference is not that big to where now that Simmons is back, it's like, oh, thank God. Like, we need to put need to put this to rest. Need to go out there and be able to play him right away. I am a little bit confused in some aspects about what the choice is in this. And I think ultimately, if you had asked me, I'm probably saying, we're going to play Jalen Moore for this week, and then Josh Simmons going back the week after. But that is something I'm going to say, be wary of, for sure, because it's not something that I'm not going to give it to Josh Simmons when he comes back. If he earns it and plays well at practice, and you see the same Josh Simmons you saw 5 weeks ago, whatever it was, good, you're playing great, fantastic, you're out there, you're good. If I see a little bit of a lackluster effort, I see him, lost some pressure, lost some weight, whatever it might be, I might take a break. I feel comfortable with more enough to say, yeah, we're good. We're gonna take a second. We're gonna do that and kind of figure that out in that light. So we'll have to wait. We'll have to kind of see what the expectation is. But overall, I do think that it could be a week where you really have to look at practice to see who's going to start at that um, left tackle position, whether it's Josh Simmons or ultimately Jalen Moore. Want to talk about some interesting trade updates. I know the trade deadline has gone, but Adam Schefter had an intriguing report. He said a near deal was this tweet. I believe it was yesterday in the morning, saying at Tuesday's NFL trade deadline, the Chiefs made a late, strong push to acquire Seahawks linebacker Boy Mafe, per sources. Some thought the deal would get done. One source even thought it was completed. But right before the deadline, Seattle opted to hold on to Mafe. I find this intriguing for so many different reasons, because of the linebacker core the Chiefs have, because of the because I didn't expect them to go after a linebacker. Like I was fully, they're going for a defensive line. They're going for a running back. That's what they're looking at. They're looking at Jalen Phillips. They're looking at a Breece Hall. That's what they're looking at. The linebacker was not on my mind, and really not on most people's minds. So I do find that really intriguing to see like what Brett Veach's thought were. Obviously, we'll never know why he was going after him, but I do want to kind of play the speculation game today, talk about my thoughts on, was this trade a good idea? If so, what was kind of the backing behind it, and really just taking a look at it from a holistic standpoint and say, Boy Mafe, is that a guy that would have helped this team if the deal had been made, if the Seahawks decided, yeah, we'll actually give him up. So I'm curious. We'll talk about it here in just a second. Take a quick break and come back here on the Chiefs Report.
Protect your car with 3W Liners all-weather floor mats. Made from durable materials like TPE and rubber, our mats are designed to withstand rain, snow, and mud with deep grooves to trap dirt and liquids. For a custom fit and advanced protection, visit 3W Liners. That's the number 3, WLINERS.com today. At 25 Home, our ultimate goal is to provide you with a transformative experience, making each day feel like it has an extra hour. We believe your home is more than just a space, it's a sanctuary where comfort, relaxation, and happiness thrive. Discover the difference at 25 Home today. Shop now at 25home.com.
I need to get real excited.
Sure.
Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Sheridan Vasquez, and this is Sheridan Soundcheck Sessions. And I will be interviewing some of your favorite musicians and maybe some you've never heard before. Join me on Sheridan Soundcheck Sessions for something new every time. You can find Sheridan Soundcheck Sessions anywhere you get your podcasts or at roguemediamusic.com. Yeehaw. And keep the music playing.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's all we need.
Yeah.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com. Want to turn your passion into profit? With Bloggify, creating a blog has never been easier. Build, customize, and grow your site with powerful tools designed for beginners and pros alike. Start sharing your story today and watch your audience grow with Bloggify. Visit bloggify.ai today for a free 3-day trial. That's Bloggify, BLOGIFY.ai today. Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com. That's CLEAN email.com. Stay connected no matter where you are with eSIMX. Say goodbye to expensive roaming charges and physical SIM cards. With access to over 200 global carriers, we make mobile connectivity seamless and affordable for travelers worldwide. Join the future of communication today at esimx.com. That's ESIMX.com.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Easy Sun has been living fearlessly under the sun since 2016. Born from sailors' need for convenient sun protection, our mineral sunscreen is crafted with natural ingredients offering broad spectrum protection against UVA and UVB rays. Safe for your skin and the environment, stay protected on the go with Easy Sun, your ultimate sun care solution. Visit EasySun.com today. That's EEZYSUN.com.
Welcome back here to the Chiefs Report, talking about a trade that almost happened. It was reported by Adam Schefter that at the trade deadline, the Chiefs were almost in a deal with the Seattle Seahawks at Tuesday's deadline. Apparently, the Chiefs made a strong push to acquire Seattle Seahawks linebacker Boy Mafi, and ultimately, Seattle was the one who backed out of the deal, quote unquote, as they opted to hold on to Mafi. And I'm kind of curious because if you look at his stats, he's a decent linebacker. Don't get me wrong. Very good this season. 15 tackles, 5 solo, 10 assisted. He's got a sack. He's got a stuff. Nothing is crazy, though. Like, nothing in this screams, oh, yeah, this is a top-tier guy. His PFF grade is pretty good, 68.5. That makes him 45th out of 110 edge rushers, I guess you can consider him that way. So I do think if you came over the Chiefs, they were definitely going to use him as the outside linebacker edge rushing more, but he reminds me, I mean, he's not reminding me of, but he's the build of a Micah Parsons, where he's labeled as linebacker. He's going to play a linebacker type role, but as a edge rusher. So I would have been curious to see what happened. I think in a lot of ways they might have used him as a hybrid, because the linebacker group I love in Leo Chenal, Nick Bolton, Drew Tranquil. I like Jack Cochran as one of the depth pieces, but past the first level linebackers in the Kansas City Chiefs organization, I don't know that somebody in here screams out, oh yeah, that's the guy, that's the one. Like, the backups there are questionable, but in the edge rushing unit, you like Ashton Slater, you like Charles Omena, you like Mike Dana. I'm curious in this aspect because I don't know. I just thought they would go for an interior defensive lineman or like a top tier edge rusher, not a guy who's a linebacker edge rusher, kind of combo Micah Parsons. I mean, Micah Parsons is great. Obviously, you don't want to consider him and put him in the same light, but I don't know. It's intriguing to me for so many different aspects why this was a move that the Chiefs, I'm not going to say considered, because they did more than consider. I mean, they almost made it. They considered it. They liked it. They went for it. And the Seahawks said, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. So am I intrigued to see whether or not the Chiefs from here on out kind of use their defensive edge rushers in a weird place? But at the same time, it's a weird thing to hear from Adam Schefter and know that, okay, this is something that, you take a look at and you kind of wonder what's that. But I do also want to talk about the divisional race and kind of look at this AFC West picture, and obviously talk about the Denver Broncos game coming up here on Sunday. Kind of the last little bit, want to end the show off on that, because this is one of the bigger games for the Kansas City Chiefs, I want to say, in like 5 years, at least regular season wise. And maybe I have to touch off base. I mean, there's been some big regular season games, but especially later on in the season. However, with the Chiefs sitting at 5-4, with the Broncos at 8-2, yet a lot of people kind of considering them, I'm going to say fraudulent because of who they've played. It seems like almost, okay, who is the real team? Who is the team that we can look for in the AFC West and say, yeah, that team, they're going to go out. They're going to be the ones to compete. And so I kind of took the liberty to kind of look back at a couple of different things. First of all, we talked about the standings. As of right now, the Denver Broncos are ahead of the New England Patriots because they have the best win percentage in conference games. Technically, the Colts then break that tiebreaker with the better win percentage in conference games than Broncos, Colts, and Patriots. That can change a lot. In my opinion, though, it's 8-2, 8-2, 8-2, and then 5-4 after that. Obviously, the Steelers are in that 4 slot because they're leading the division, not because of their record. The Los Angeles Chargers at 7-3 right behind them. So there's a quick flip the switch for a lot of these teams. However, I do look at the Denver Broncos and say, okay, they have a good record. They're 8-2. They didn't look that good against Las Vegas on Thursday. They did not look that good. Who did they play? There's so much talk about the Chiefs and saying, well, the teams that they play that weren't the good teams. They weren't the teams in the AFC that you expect to go and play in the playoffs. Well, not at all. What is the vibe for the teams the Broncos play? That's where I find it intriguing. Las Vegas, you won 10-7 on Thursday night. It's prime time. You're at home. I guess I can give them a pass. The stats were pretty good for most of their guys, but I still look at that and say, I don't know. You're on the road at Houston. You beat them 18-15. That was a close game. Houston's an okay team. I don't really consider that a great win. You played Dallas. Horrible defense. You scored 44 points. That's great. You also allowed 24 points, and the offense is pretty good, but Dallas is not a good team. They're 3-5-1. They made some good trades, but they're not a good team right now. They lost to the Arizona Cardinals this past Monday, or rather a week from today, a week ago today. The Giants and the Jets, both not good teams. You barely beat the Jets. You barely beat the Giants. The Giants fired their head coach today. The New York Jets are on a new head coach this year. Those are both not good teams you played. You beat by a combined 3 points. Not good. Also, Justin Fields and Jackson Dart were the quarterbacks in those two contests, which no disrespect to both of them, but they're not Patrick Mahomes. Then you play Philadelphia. You beat that one. That is a impressive win. I respect it. Big win in Philly, and you win by 4, 21-17. Good win. Don't have to say too much about it. Knicks had one of his better games, throwing for 246 yards. Obviously, J.K. Dobbins has been fantastic. He ran for 79 yards in that game. You play the Cincinnati Bengals. That was Jake Browning. That was Jake Browning as quarterback. He scored 3 points. No, I'm not giving that as a legitimate win. Then you lose to Los Angeles. Oh, let's go back to those NFL standings. Well, the Chargers, they're a top team in the AFC. You lost to them. Okay. What about the Colts? You lost them by 1. They're also a top team in the AFC. Granted, those were close losses, but those are the teams that you're going to be playing in the AFC conference, in the AFC playoffs. You beat Tennessee 2012. I'm not even going to. First week of the year, one of the worst teams in the NFL. The same can be said for Kansas City. I mean, we go look at their schedule. The same can be said in a lot of lights. You lose to Los Angeles and Philadelphia, both top-tier teams. You beat New York. You beat Baltimore, and Baltimore at that game lost Lamar Jackson. You lose to Jacksonville. Good team. Obviously, they got beat by the Texans this week, and it was a horrendous comeback for them. I guess kind of what goes around comes around in terms of this game. But you beat Detroit, good team in the NFC, I guess. You beat Las Vegas, not a good team. You beat Washington without Jane Daniels. Nothing really screams great win. Then you lose to Buffalo in Orchard Park, although it beat by only 7. I think in both lights, not just with the Chiefs, not just with the Broncos, but this is a game where it really defines how people across the media, how people across the NFL and the teams in the NFL look at you. Because if the Denver Broncos, I know they're at home, but if they take down the Chiefs, who are still considered to be a very top-tier team, like I think we talk a lot about it, this team looks different, but they're still considered to be the team to beat down the stretch once they're in the playoffs. I mean, ultimately, it's Patrick Mahomes. You get to the playoffs, this team is a different team. It is. You can't say that's a different way. So in that aspect, if the Denver Broncos come out here and they're at home and beat the Kansas City Chiefs to go to 9-2, let's say the Colts or the Patriots lose, and all of a sudden they're firmly in second or first in the AFC. That's a crazy way to kind of put yourself and say, hey, we are legitimate. Like maybe we didn't look that good on Thursday Night Football against the Raiders, but we just beat the Chiefs off their bye week, by the way, too. Whereas the Chiefs say, okay, we couldn't get it done in Orchard Park. We couldn't take down the Bills. We couldn't take down Josh Allen. We don't have Isaiah Pacheco again this game, in theory, but we have our bye week. We have our first-round offensive tackle back. We hopefully have a better mindset as to the way we're going to use our running backs. You go out there on the road at 5-4, and take down the team who has or is tied for the best record in the AFC, people are going to look at the Chiefs and say, okay, yeah, they're still the Chiefs. The record is what it is, but they're still the Chiefs. 6-4 is a good, dang good record at this time for the way the AFC is set up, at least. And then if you go losses, it really changes. I mean, you look at the Chiefs after a loss to the Broncos, you're 5-5. You have a game right after that against Indianapolis the next week, a team that is atop the AFC, legitimately, like they beat all the tiebreakers. Then your next game on Thanksgiving against the Cowboys, like who knows what they're going to look like with their new trade deadline acquisitions and Quentin Williams and Logan Wilson. This is an important game here against Denver, but the grand scheme of things is this is an important 2 to 3 game stretch. Because from now until Thanksgiving, there is a legitimate possibility where we could be looking at this team and we could be saying, man, what was all the fuss about? They went 3-0. They are now 8-4. We're fine. Playoffs, easy. Not worried about it. They just took down the top 2 teams in the AFC. Even if they go 2-1, you're thinking, okay, yeah, we're 7-5 at this point. Still feel comfortable. We get to play Tennessee and Las Vegas in 2 of our final 5 games of the year. And then there's the bad way, where you lose to Denver and you lose to Indianapolis. You go 1-2. You're like, okay, well, we're 6-6. It's not really great there. Yeah, not really good in any light. Or, God forbid, you go 0-3. You are now 5-7, and your playoff aspirations are severely in depth. So these next 3 games against the top 2 teams in the AFC, and then past that, one of the top offenses in the NFL and a team that reloaded at the trade deadline in Dallas on Thanksgiving in what is a Dallas staple in Jerry's World AT&T Stadium. It's a huge game there too. And Bo Nix and Patrick Mahomes, I'm choosing Patrick Mahomes every day. I'm choosing it. He may have, more completions, more attempts. Guess what? Percentage still lies with Patrick Mahomes. Yards still lies with Patrick Mahomes. Yards per attempt still lies with Patrick Mahomes. Interceptions still lies with Patrick Mahomes. Everything points to Mahomes coming in here and showing why he is the quarterback he is, why he's respected in the way that he is respected. But he's got to go out there and prove it. This can't be a game where you come out lollygagging. This can't be a game where you come out at, I'm changing my mind in some aspects. No, Sunday night prime time is a big thing, but I think the afternoon games are some of the biggest games because you have all eyes on them. Everybody's back home from wherever they are in the morning. They're watching these games. It's a big game. Big game. What are your thoughts on this game in the comment section? Do you believe in the Chiefs? Do you see this as an important stretch as I see it? I am, I'm not going to say I'm nervous for any light, but in the case of the Chiefs coming in here and winning, they got to. And if they don't, people are going to start looking at you differently because right now they still see the Chiefs. They do. And even if you make the playoffs in a weird way, you still would be looked at as the Chiefs. But things can be turned around very, very quickly for a multitude of different reasons. So that's all we got here for today's show. We hope you have enjoyed today. We're going to be talking tomorrow more about all the updates we have for the Kansas City Chiefs and probably a little bit more of an in-depth preview of the offenses we're going to face in the Broncos and kind of what the game plan will be for the Chiefs. So we'll talk about the more in-depth analytical side of, okay, what are the Chiefs defense going to do? What are the Chiefs running back to do? What are the Broncos struggle at? What do the Chiefs struggle at? What is going to be the game plan for each side? So hope you have a great rest of your day. Happy you have chosen to listen here on the Chiefs Report. We'll see you next time here on the show. Peace out, guys.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.